or war that rages on around the globe, we come back to center ourselves in the one place where we still have hope. That sense of our faith, the message we receive in the scriptures, and the company of one another. One of the last songs that John Lennon wrote was a song he wrote for his son Sean. It's called Beautiful Boy, and it has in it a verse and a line that really speaks to the reality of life's unpredictability. Some of it was advice, kind of advice a father would give a son. You know, before you go to sleep, say a prayer. But then there's this verse: before you cross the street, take my hand. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. Life can be so easily interrupted. We find ourselves on one path only to discover another is waiting for us at a crossroad we didn't see coming. It's good and important to be prepared, but sometimes in our lives and in the life of the world, there are catastrophic events that occur without any warning. There are storms that come out of nowhere when our lives seem to be sailing along smoothly. There's no predicting those kinds of storms, and there are a lot of them. The kind of storms we know about from our own experiences as people of faith in a community of faith with our family and friends, learning that your spouse wants a divorce, being diagnosed with prostate or breast cancer or MS or any one of a number of other chronic illnesses, losing your job after many years as a faithful employee, getting a phone call that your child has been killed in a car accident, living with a loved one who struggles with drug or alcohol addiction, having a child diagnosed with a serious illness, discovering that a loved one has a chronic or terminal illness and you will be the primary caregiver, experiencing the death of a spouse, partner. It is those kinds of storms that life throws on our path. But we don't have to weather life's storms all by ourselves. That's what it means to be a blessing. Part of what is the great joy of being part of a community of faith is that we are a blessing to others. We hold one another up in prayer. We care for one another through calls and through those simple acts of neighborly and faithful caring for one another. And within this congregation, not only do we have a wonderful prayer shawl ministry that provides prayer shawls and prayers for people who are going through some of those life storms, but we also have developed another program called Stephen Ministry. Stephen was one of the first deacons of the Christian church called to care for the people of the growing community. And the Stephen Ministry is a national program that takes its inspiration from that kind of lay caregiving, that offers training for individuals to be caregivers and to care for those going through tough times. We've had a Stephen Ministry active in this congregation since 2008, and you perhaps have heard in recent weeks that we're going to be starting a new group of Stephen ministers, training them to be those kind of one-to-one Christian caregivers. Normally, it's a very confidential thing. We don't share who a caregiver or care receiver is, but this morning we have a special opportunity because we have someone who was on the receiving end of care, who has offered to come and share a little of her story. And we also have